All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you happen to be watching this. This video was recorded on Friday, September 27th. And we are going to be taking a quick look at Bitcoin, the market in general, maybe a couple altcoins, things like that. Thank you so much for joining. If you are new to the channel, please take a moment, subscribe, hit that subscribe button and the notification button. And get involved in the chats when we do live streams, things like that. If you check out the comments area under the video, there is a link to Discord where I do spend some time day trading with a number of other people or just talking about trades. It is a free Discord, of course. The link is in the video description below. And there's also some links for setting up accounts if you don't have an account or if you want to help support the channel. Those are reference links, and all the proceeds from those reference links go directly to keeping this channel running, getting more videos made, getting more people in the channel and involved, things like that. So thank you so much for joining. Let's get right into it. There was just a little replay of the past few weeks of Bitcoin action there from about September 2nd until current day. I'm going to get rid of that. I do have the Coinbase chart pulled up. Also going to take a look at the BitMEX chart. But overall, the charts are pretty similar right now. The market is maturing, so we are getting more similar movements overall across most markets, with still a few exceptions, as there always will be. All right, let's start on the high time frame. Just take a look here. We've got the monthly. Wow, look at that. Look how that turned out. Now, if you've been watching the videos for a little while, you know we were taking a look at this kind of structure setting up here, seeing whether it was going to close above or below. And obviously, it is very unlikely that we are going to get a close above that 10.8 level now with just a few days left in the month. So we are going to get that down close. Not, terrible overall, but of course, bad for the bulls. But let's just mark now below this level, of course, the 9.6 level essentially is the monthly low there. The previous month. Below that level is a fairly bearish close. Not super interested, in long-term, long positions right there. But we are creating a whole new market structure, so that level is going to become a little less important now that we have passed through it and will likely be closing below it. Still a level I'm going to leave on the chart just to kind of watch. I'm interested to see when price gets back to that level, how it reacts to it. Just looking back, we did come down here and touch this 772, which was that monthly level from back in 2018. So we came back, retested that level. So far, not a very strong reaction from it, but also not really passing through it. So I'm going to leave that level up on the chart now as well. All right, let's move down here. Weekly level. And, just from a monthly perspective in general here, these are long-term EMAs on a monthly time frame. They don't really tell me a whole lot about what's going on. They don't offer areas that I'm super interested in generally for taking positions per se, because the volatility is just way too high on a time frame this large. So don't really pay much attention to those or indicators on this kind of time frame myself. All right. On the weekly is where I'll start to pay a little bit more attention to them. So we still have those monthly levels, and they're now marked on both charts for us. This is the daily chart over here on the right. And if you've watched some of the previous videos, you know that I was talking about this 8.7 level that we would certainly hit, and I was going to be watching for reaction basically at that level. Now, if you were watching the other day, of course, price just plowed through that level, didn't stop really at all, kept going, so I did not purchase at that level and am still sitting mostly in cash, waiting for the market to give me a better signal here. So we plowed through that level. We came into this, which way back if you watched one of the early videos from the channel, I was talking about coming down into this area here and possibly touching as low as about the 7.5 level. We haven't quite gotten to that 7.5 level, but we did come very close to it here. And, you know, this area at the low of this candle, this is not a terrible place to try for some long-term positions per se, especially since it is that monthly retest of this range high from back in 2018. On a long-term time frame, not a bad place to be looking for some long-term positions by any means. The thing that does have me hesitating is just that we pushed so strongly down. This weekly close in 2 days now is going to be a very interesting one that I will be watching closely. I want to move just to 2019 though, just to kind of see the volume and what's been happening. Now, you'll notice if you check out the VPVR over here on the right-hand side of the chart, we are sitting right at this higher area of interest for buying and selling. And that's something that I would expect given the price action of this area right here, that we did have, you know, this doji here, quite a sell-off, and then, of course, a very strong reaction from that level. Now, because this is a monthly level, a VPVR level, and it's inside this weekly OB, I am going to start looking on lower time frames to enter. And we'll talk about those lower time frames again in just a moment. Overall here, the EMAs are not looking very bullish, but price can still come up significantly from the level that it is currently sitting at before those EMAs really confirm that they are going to switch from bullish to bearish, or they could just have continuation. They could go sideways. They're technically angling down now, which is not a very bullish sign. But it's not something I'm super worried about at the moment. Price has reached the area that I was interested in buying for a longer term. So I'm going to be looking on lower time frames now for entries, and I will reevaluate, of course, what's going on in the coming weeks, keeping in mind that if we drop below this 7.4 level and we close a daily or weekly candle below that, certainly, I would definitely be scared out of the market by that point. And you can see that there's almost no interest in buying. I mean, there was very little price action this entire year between this 7,700 level and way down here at the breakout level from just below 6,000. If we include, of course, this area, lots and lots of buying at that 6,000 to 6,500 area last year. So that is an area that, if price did come down to, very likely to hold. But I do not expect it to come down to that level. Of course, I can be wrong. No problem. That's part of the game. But I am not currently expecting it to go that low. All right. Now, that divergence that we were talking about, if you watch some of the previous videos, we're talking about a divergence here, which was apparent on the RSI. There was a flat top divergent there, and then there was an extended divergence here with almost a double top here on the weekly. But essentially, price level came back to the same level with divergent indicator warnings. And that is absolutely playing out at this time. So, you know, pretty significant, strong, bearish move, dropping out of a multi-month consolidation there. Like I said, we are at levels, very high interest levels in general, price-wise. So looking for some entries with, of course, you know, keeping in mind that you may need to attempt the entry several times before you get a really good entry at these levels, or if you're willing to stand a little bit more volatility than averaging in at these levels within this range, keeping in mind that that might be necessary. But this is an area that I'm going to be looking for entries, certainly, as I said. All right. Now, covered everything there that I wanted to cover. Cool. We're going to move down to the daily here, and I'm going to move this one down to the 4-hour. Now, the thing is, I don't see a lot to love on these lower time frames. Taking a look here at the OBV, for example, this is the same, this is that area of multi-month price action consolidation, but then this strong, strong drop out of there. So I really, really want to see it bounce in this area very soon, or else we could, come back and drop below this 7.4 level. If we do that, I know I've seen a few people talking about buying at 7.2, 7.3 area, and maybe even it would be a little bit lower there at that 7,000 range that was that daily order block right there. But again, I would want to see that happen on just a very quick basis. I'd want to see a strong reaction from that level. It does look like we're getting a little bit of a bounce here short term on Bitcoin. This is a level I would kind of expect that to happen, so it does not invalidate any sort of bearish thesis by any means. As I said, these are areas that I'm looking for some buys, but keep in mind overall the trend on the daily and most time frames at the moment is bearish, and exceedingly so after dropping out of that area. So price can come back up significantly. I mean, price can come back up to 9,300 to 9,500 range, in my opinion, without really invalidating any sort of bearish thesis on continued price movement. So there's a big range to play with here. We're currently sitting at about 8,000, and we can come all the way up to the bottom of this structure, maybe even into the structure a little bit, into the 9.5 region there, and it's still bearish. So keep this in mind if you are looking, to enter markets or exit markets. There will be quite a few people who entered over the past several months thinking that this was a bullish consolidation who are now underwater. Significant positions. There was a lot of buying up in these areas, and obviously a lot of distribution as well of coins, but there's a lot of people who bought up here who have not sold yet, likely. So there will be continued selling pressure as price begins to move back up. So it's not something that I'm in a huge rush to do. I think I have plenty of time. The market can prove me wrong there. If we have a strong reaction and create a V bottom down here, sure. Then, maybe this is a bear trap, but I'm not going to expect it to be a bear trap. There's no significant sign of divergences at this level right now, things like that, especially on the daily time frame. All the bulls really have going for them is the fact that we've tapped into this area of interest in this monthly level down here from 2018, which is not a super strong thesis, to be honest. If you look at some, basic indicators, the only thing going for the RSI is that it's down below this standard 30 level where people tend to look for long positions. But of course, it can stay down there for long times, and it has just entered that area. So I'm not chomping at the bit to enter into the market again, especially considering I distributed most of my position up in this area above 10.2, between 10.2 and about 12. So we have increasing strength on the MACD here, just bearish movement overall. It's getting pretty extended, so I would expect it to contract, and we should see some continued consolidation or a bounce here shortly. And that's what I believe is beginning to happen here. This daily close may close as a little doji down here, something like that. But we should look at some shorter time frames because there's no real significant indicators or I guess, signals on the daily time frame right now that tell me much about where price may be headed. All I can see, all the daily is telling me at the moment is that we've had bearish continuation in trend ever since here, and we had this drop out of consolidation and have seen nothing but continued selling pressure since that point. If you are looking to the daily time frame for a significant signal, I would be waiting at this point personally until I see a daily candle come up here and close back above a previous daily's candle. And I would really like to see 2 days worth of that action, where we close above the open and then close above the open and close of the previous day. So 2 days in a row where we see some bullish movement before I would get at all excited if I was a long-term bull. Like I said, I see no reason to be too eager to enter at this level. You're really just hoping to catch the bottom here is what you're doing on a time frame this high. So keep that in mind. That being said, we are at that area of interest. If you are trading based on a weekly time frame, this is a pretty high area of interest, so it's an area to look. However, we have significant, there's 600, this OB here is all the way from 8.7 down to 7.4. So over $1,000 basically of area here that it can play with and still be inside that, continue to consolidate in there for a while before breaking out one way or the other. But that is an area of high interest to keep an eye on. So let me just mark these before we move down to the lower time frames so that we can see what's going on there. All right. That's an area that on the upside I would expect to see something happen. If nothing happens at that level, it just punches right through. That's pretty good for the bulls. We have, of course, we had these lower highs and higher lows, and then we punched through both of them. So I would be looking at this secondary one or this one, which are very, very similar areas to that previous monthly level. So going to mark that one. They're right in the same range. That's an area I think that we will see definitely some resistance on the way back up, and that's that area I'm talking about. I don't expect it to hit it exactly, but maybe getting up to 9.2 to 9.5 area there. I could see that without invalidating any bearish trend. We come up, that's pretty common to come back up, retest the EMAs on the other side, and come back down. We could see, months and months of that before there is another significant movement from the price range that has now been established. So, like I said, I don't think that we are in a rush. On the weekly, we have incredible momentum increasing and coming up and hitting the MA on the volume there for the current weekly candle. The last 2 days of this week are going to be important. The bulls really have to close this weekly candle above the monthly down here and these weekly levels at 7.6. So look for them to make an attempt over the next 2 days to really keep that weekly candle in that range. It's not, significantly bullish, but it's good enough so that there's not incredible panic in the market. And that's what the bulls are really hoping to do. They're hoping to save face at this point. And we can see how that RSI just dropped. I was talking in earlier videos how some people were calling this a wedge. Obviously, it was not. It broke down. It was a divergence. A lot of people were not paying attention to. OBV, same thing, has broken now to new lows on the weekly, so nothing super bullish about any of that structure. The only thing going is this level here and this area here that had a lot of interest, but seems like a lot of people have become too scared to buy in this area, or they bought too soon expecting that it would never come all the way down. So this is an area that we will continue to keep an eye on in this channel, and of course the entire market is watching it at this point. Okay, So we've got the 4 hour here on the right hand side, and we've got the daily still up on this side. We did come down, as I said, and hit the areas that I had been looking for us to hit for quite some time. So I'm happy about that. Nice to see that target finally reached. It took weeks and weeks and weeks to get there. On the daily, same thing as the weekly, only increasing momentum on the bearish side. You can see, a little bit of volume dropping off, but it's volume dropping off overall and greater sell volume. So still not very bullish by any means. So yeah, going to be watching that 8-4 level definitely, and looking for those 2 days in a row to have some bullish movement. On a lower time frame though, looking here at the 4 hour, I'm going to pull up some. We do have a little bit of short-term divergence. Now, that divergence is absolutely invalidated if we get a candle close below this low here at 7,915. It does look like we've kind of consolidated inside this candle, and we had a nice strong reaction candle there with some increasing volume. But like I said, there is significant sell pressure in the market overall. Even on the 4 hour, the EMAs are still bearish, so it's most likely that price pops up into this area and then continues to sell off after hitting maybe 8.5 or 8.6. Short term, though, I do think we are due for a bounce. There's definitely some minor divergences here. You can see from here to here on the MACD with it crossing above, and of course the MACD signal cross down here. This is just the awesome oscillator. It's a momentum indicator. Shows some similar things, but calculates things a little bit differently than the MACD, so I like to use both of them sometimes just to see what's going on. OBV here, not a whole lot going on for the bulls with this, just showing consolidation sideways overall. There's some distribution accumulation happening. I'd like to see that break out for a potential movement up, but if it fails to do so, then we're just going to get continued movement down again today and tomorrow. But like I said, I am expecting a pop-up into at least the 8.5 area. Now, if you are day trading, you can definitely go down to some lower time frames. There's going to be some really fantastic opportunities at these levels to range trade. There's going to be some fantastic opportunities for very short-term scalp trades, longs and shorts, things like that. But on these time frames, I'm just not seeing anything that's great for the bulls. Everything still looks very bearish. However, shorting right here, especially with significant size, seems like a really terrible idea to me. I would be waiting for better entries for shorts. I would especially be interested, in short entries if price got back up into the low 9,000s. However, I figure there's a lot of people that are going to be looking for shorts in that area, so I would wait for some wicks that would be stopping out early shorters to enter personally. Price may not get back there anytime soon. Like I said, could be weeks yet, but you know how it goes with volatility in Bitcoin. It always moves more than you think it's going to. If we get a drop down here on this time frame, then with divergence, I would be very interested in divergence down near this monthly level. If the price can come up, break above this past 4 hour high here, what is that, 813 on the Coinbase chart, that's an area that I might be interested in a long position. I'd be looking at some lower time frames for an entry at that point. But like I said, I'm being very cautious with any long positions right now and keeping them mostly to the short term until I see some significant change in the direction of the market here. But I will be keeping an eye on these lower areas for some long-term entries. I just want to see that we're not going to have bearish continuation first. So I may not get, the low entry in the high 7,000s here. That's the very bottom of the market, but I don't fucking need to get that either. I can be patient and wait for a safer entry for a larger part of my position. I feel that's a majority of what's going on. This video is already pretty long, so I'm going to keep it at that. Might do another video that specializes just on news, stuff like that here in the near future. Going to have some extra segments. But overall, thank you for taking the time to watch this. I appreciate you being part of the channel. Looks like the 4 hours trying to pop down just a little bit now. Like I said, be looking in that area for divergence around the monthly if it does drop again from here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment, subscribe, hit that button, hit the notification button as well so that you see when we're going live, when I'm joining other people. I'm going to be joining Nick and stuff for some of Nick and Josh and all the guys for some of their videos here in the near future. And going to try and get some more segments with guests and things on the channel as well. So thank you so much. Take the time to join us in Discord or on Twitter, things like that. And of course, if you want to help support the channel, please take a moment and sign up for one of the exchanges with the reference links. Everything helps and keeps the channel going long term. I look forward to chatting with you guys during some of the live streams and things in the future. And have a fun weekend. Don't spend the whole thing staring at the charts. There's going to be some volatility over the weekend. I don't think there's any rush for you long-term traders. Set some alerts, go relax, and enjoy yourselves. All right, have fun. Get out there. Don't lose all your money.